Hello, Aku here again. Welcome to episode 17 of my beginner's guide. Now, this episode I'm going to take things a little bit slower. It was a little bit hectic the last episode. I want to cover a few things, make sure everyone's alright with the pace of the videos. Make sure that you let me know if I'm covering things too quick or if I'm going a bit too slow. Now, one of the things I have to deal with is I've got this area chunk loaded, but my new base is not chunk loaded. So let's just have a quick look in there. So I believe the Tesseract may keep things chunk loaded. I'm not sure, because this has got things sending from a chunk loaded area. That may actually be forcing this chunk to load. I'm not sure if some things interact like that. You've got to be aware of it, because if this wasn't loaded and the other one was, any wood that comes through here would get just destroyed on this end because it'd have nowhere to go. So I'm not 100% sure, but the safest bet is to get another chunk loader at this end of the chain. It's quite expensive chunk loaders, but that's what happens if you build your base in a funny place that you'd end up not liking. So this stuff's going in there, so one would presume it's coming out the other end, hopefully. But like I said, I'm going to make a chunk loader, and at some point it'll be spare, but it's always good to have a spare chunk loader. When we start quarrying, quarries actually chunk load themselves, but we may want a farmcraft tower in a separate place or something like that. So one of the things I'm going to do is make another chunk loader, and I should probably do that now and just babble while I'm doing it. Should be pretty straightforward. I need some obsidian, I need some more diamonds again, don't I? So I'm probably getting quite low on gold. I need 5 gold for that. 8 for the 2 diamonds. I'm going to start doing some, yeah, no diamonds in there, I didn't think so. Some resource gathering pretty soon. Need a book. Let's grab one of them. A couple of things I want to cover in this episode. Now, we need to start getting our farms automated, because they don't just create the farm products, they also create a lot of byproducts. For example, sewage. The first thing I'm going to create is a little cow farm, I think. I'm not going to start that just yet. We've got 2 sets of boards now, haven't we? I've got farms and MFR on there. I want to start doing a little bit with bees. I just want to get basic bees automated. So for that we're going to need a thing called a carpenter to make our first tool for bees, called a bee analyzer. So I'll probably getting on with that in this episode, because that's a little bit important. Then we can actually see what species the bees are, so we can actually breed. And even if you don't like bees much, going for at least, there's 3 types of bees in this. There's vanilla bees, which are from forestry. Don't get confused with vanilla Minecraft. It's part of the forestry mod, but it gets called vanilla forestry bees, if you will. They're the ones that you normally find in the wild, and there's certain species paths that you can do with them. Then there's a thing called extra bees, which adds a hell of a lot more species of bees, and some advanced machines that you can manipulate your bees' genes with a bit better, and you can get all sorts of stuff from that: platinum, diamonds, rubies, all kind of stuff. Fuel, which is what I use on my main Let's Play server for powering my boiler. I get fuel from bees, and then there's thalmic bees, which are an add-on for thalmcraft. But even if you don't like bees much, I suggest learning to do a little bit, just enough to get to the vanilla bees, where you can get top of the 2 basic lines, which is the industrious branch and the noble branch. That'll get you materials enough so you can make what's called an alveary. That makes things a lot easier, and then from there you might end up liking it enough to actually use the alveary, make a breeding alveary, and start going for the extra bees. So I'm going to do a little bit of stuff with that. I don't want to do loads though, especially on camera. A lot of people get a bit bored with bees, and I understand why. I didn't really like it until I got into it, but once I got into it I really did like it. So let's just make a chunk loader for that other place. I just want to make sure it's safe. I think it is, but I think it's working alright that end, but I just want to make sure. So again, enchanting table, diamond drone. I need 1 more diamond, idiot. There we go. Oh, ender pearl, of course. Here's an ender pearl as well, so I need 4 iron. We're getting quite low on materials. See, I've not really mined for days. I think the last resources I went for a little go back in that cave when I was short on some stuff the other day, but most of the resource gathering you've seen me do. So that hollow hill, let's just go. There's still quite a lot of materials in here. Just go on a little tangent. Have a look in here. Any monsters around? No, there's still quite a lot of stuff up there, as you can see. Coal, iron, loads of iron there. I've been up. I've nade pulled up a few times. Got rid of quite a lot of stuff, but I just picked up a bit of iron off the floor from last time. So that's still there because this isn't chunk loaded. So obviously, as soon as you come out of this world, this will just unload. So everything didn't despawn. Some gold up there, look. Some iron. So I've still got plenty of stuff I can go out in here. So I'll be doing a bit of that off camera at some point. Was that? Did I see a zombie? No. Oh no, it must have been the green of that quartz crystal that caught my eye. So I'll be coming back here at some point. But for now, still using the resources I got from here the first time. So you do get a good amount of resources, especially to get you a load of iron, which is good. Anything in there? No, just some. That's called transformation powder. You can. I never really use it, but you can click on an animal in the overworld and it'll make it into the Twilight Forest version of it, or vice versa. So you can click on a cow, it should turn into a stag, I believe. It's like a little gimmicky thing that I don't know if it has any real useful use. It maybe does. So what can we do now? We can make an ender pearl and then get out of the place chunk loaded. The other place is just going to need, there we go, chunk loaded. Oops, missed. And then I'm just going to place this up here somewhere. I'm actually going to put it on there. That might be an issue though, because now I think mobs can spawn here. Let's have a little check. F7. Yeah, I made it a little bit dangerous. Let's put a couple of torches. No, one will do, but I'll have two, keep it even. So there we go. So this is going to be my ground floor, my actual base. And this only has to be one chunk because of the way I've made this. So for now, I'm just going to keep it one chunk loaded. So put the lasers on there. You'll see just this chunk we're in is going to stay loaded, which is kind of cool. That means we're safe here. Make sure this thing keeps working when we're elsewhere. Obviously, we're not doing a lot of stuff outside of our base at the minute, but once you start doing stuff like going into the nether to do more... Ooh. Going into the nether to do more farming and stuff like that, like XP farming perhaps, then it's useful to have all your stuff loaded because it'll keep working away. If we just go back there a sec, you see that this engine there, this redstone cell, is full. So these engines aren't actually doing anything. I could turn them off. And you'll see this is using a real small amount of energy to run this thing. Sorry, to run these things. Sawmill. And the powered furnace there. Got a bit of charcoal. So come on. It's not actually using any yet because these redstone conduits carry quite a bit of power. These store power in them as well. One thing I want to do is I want to start making some stone bricks to start building a base on up there, and for that I'm going to steal this. We're going to make another one of these at some point because I like to have one in my resource setup. But for now, what I'm going to do is, I really don't like bricking, I'm going to pick, but that's the way you've got to do it for now. Hopefully the Omni wrench will get fixed so you can actually break with an Omni wrench again at some point. What I'm going to do is, I want to make some stone bricks in this. So we have been making cobble, and I can cook the cobble for free in here. But I'm actually just going to set it up to just make me stone bricks, because I want a lot. I want to build a little tower or whatever. I want a good few stacks. So I'm going to do a little setup down here. And how should we do this? Let's start off with the aqueous accumulator down there. So I want 2 buckets of water. Like so. Let's steal that. I'll put one on that side. And one on the other side. So the other thing I don't like about this place is, as you can tell by the colour of the water, we're in a jungle biome. And that'll mean breeding bees here won't be as easy as it could be if I was breeding them elsewhere. Aqueous accumulator, there we go. And now Yep. Our igneous extruder can go straight on top of that. And we want input from the top and the bottom. This is going to be a bit weird looking, but top and the bottom. So there's the one side, and now hopefully I've got a liquid duct. I'll use them all. Transport pipe. Let's got to deal with that because it's a bit noisy, isn't it? So I need to make some more liquid ducts. Oh, wrong door. Okay. I guessed wrong. He must be up there. Hello. You do it's daylight. What's he doing out there? Quick scan. Okay, I've got no liquid ducts left. I don't think I've got any hardened glass left either. So I'm going to have to do that off camera because it's you've seen that before, so I won't bore you. I'm just going to cut the camera back in a sec. And back we are, and I've got some liquid ducts. What I'm going to do with these is nice and simple. I was going to put it on the top, but I've changed that so that inputs are from the top, from the bottom and the back, the outputs to the side there. So they'll output stone bricks into this chest, and then this thing here, we're just going to set up, sorry, it's going to output smooth stone into that chest until it fills that chest up. This thing here, we're just going to set up to build stone bricks. Stone brick, right, yeah, stone brick, no, slabs, where the hell are you? Stone bricks, there we go, which is just 4 smooth stone in a square. So we'll set that up in there. So now what we need to do is connect this to the lava source, and the pipes won't, or liquid ducts won't connect to a pipe that's got a liquid in it already unless you've hit it with a wrench. There you go, that'll connect to that. Now, come on, oh, that needs wrenching again. See the way the arrow's gone outwards because I wrenched it. Just click on that again. And now that'll fill it with lava. So each stone takes 2 millibuckets, so 2 thousandths of a bucket, and 1 full bucket of water. So that's why we've got the aqueous accumulator underneath giving it water, and we're taking a real little bit of lava from our lava pool here. I've actually turned this off because at some point I want to move our lava tank to the new place. So we've got a lot of lava in there. Well done, I've just disconnected that tesseract. So now this will happily use all this lava up till we've got no lava left. But yeah, that's all good. That's going to last us quite a long time. There's see 1021 buckets in there, so there's a lot of lava. So this is producing smooth stone. You can also use this to produce obsidian. Obsidian uses a full bucket of lava and a full bucket of water each block, so that's quite a good use for obsidian, especially if, like me, your minium stone doesn't seem to work. I don't know if that's a version I'm using, but my minium stone works on some recipes, but it will not let me have obsidian. So I just had to go down to the base of the well, down my stairs there, and get a piece of obsidian, mine a piece of obsidian, to make the liquid ducts, because they take hardened glass, which uses a bit of obsidian, like so. Hardened glass and pulverized obsidian dust. Anyway, I've had a complaint that I show recipes too much, so I'm going to try and cut down on that. If you find I don't do it enough, let me know, and I'll try and get a happy medium. So what this is doing, it's creating smooth stone. It'll put smooth stone into here, and then every time it gets 4 smooth stone, it'll put it into here. So we'll end up with 9 stacks of stone bricks there, and we'll end up with a full chest of smooth stone there. Now, it's quite useful having stone bricks. One, they look alright to build with. If we just, they're a nice looking brick. They're a nice basic looking brick to build with. I quite like them. And now I'm going to have to look at some recipes here because I want to show you a couple of things. If you look at what they can go into, stone bricks. So I've just pressed U. Obviously stone brick stairs and slabs, straightforward enough. We can ignore, look at that, you can turn it into mossy stone using your minium stone. Let's see if that works for me, out of interest. No, look, that don't work for me either. Very strange. But turning gold and iron around us, so something's gone wrong there. Something's definitely got wrong. Anyway, that's not important. Let's look at that again. Obviously micro blocks using the saw, you can make covers and stuff. And I can pulverize it into cracked stone, that's useful, didn't know that. Cracked stone looks quite nice. And we can make a thing called an iron mortar, which is like a hand version of a pulverizer in case you don't have any resources. Quite useful. What else we got? I've shown you that recipe before. We can use it in our soul forge to make nether brick if we couldn't find a fortress. You can ignore assembly, ignore that for now. Lots of stuff. That's for forestry forestry automated farms. But look through the recipes here. Some of the nice things you can make is chisel stone, just by putting 4 together, which looks nice. Combine it with plastic from MFR to get these road bricks that look real nice. And these bricks as well, this is what I generally use it for a lot. Once we've got some more zychlorium stuff, zychloridite, we can build these bricks, and the good thing about these is mobs can't spawn on them, so they're really good to use for your floor in your buildings. And there's high levels of them that are more and more explosion resistant as they go up. But there's loads of different stuff there. So most of that's all Zycraft stuff, and of course in the engineering bricks that we use to actually make the fabricator and stuff, that used a bit of brick. So we haven't got much of this Zycraft stuff yet, but we could make a little bit of white flooring. I like the black floor. The rest of it's a little bit too glowy for me. I've used it quite a bit in the past, but I'm a little bit sick of it, sorry to say. But once I get some more black, I'll probably make my floors out of the black stuff, because then mobs can't spawn on it, so it's quite useful. I'll just make one just to show you how you make it. It's 4 of them and 5 of them. Should get you 4 bricks. Now even if this is dark in here, them bricks won't be able to have mobs spawning on them. So let's, just to prove that, let's go somewhere where it's dark. Nice and dark down here. See, stuff can spawn, but put them down, stuff can't spawn on them, so you can create nice little safe floors and have less risk of creepers sneaking up on you. So very useful for floors, very useful. Right, let's put a light back there, get up here out of the way. So that's a couple of reasons why I like to have stone brick production. So I'm just gonna, that's automated now, that's gonna fill up. Another thing we want to do while we're here is, let's put that back in there and that back in there. We've been using a bit of rubber, but we've not been processing it as good as we could be processing it. What we need to make is a thing called an extractor, and it's one of the, even if you don't want to use any IC tool at all, an extractor is probably worth having. It's one of the extractor, compressor. You could probably get away with not having the rest until you get to Greg's tech stuff that you're going to need, I think, on electrolyzer and stuff, as you've seen on the boards in the other place. But the basic IC2 stuff, you're probably going to want an extractor and a compressor. So I don't think we've got enough iron to make that at the minute. Unfortunately, I haven't. I'm going to have to go mine some iron. So once I've got some iron, I shall be back, and we'll make that, and I'll show you the reason why I make it. So back in a bit. Back we are again. Been to my little Twilight Forest place, got some iron, some in there. And what we need this for is, I'm just making 9 of it into refined iron. What we need is another one of them circuits, so we need some more rubber, which I believe is over here. And rubber's the main reason why we're sorting this out, because rubber's useful for a lot of places, it's useful for a lot of things, should I say, and you can get it from a lot of places. But we're going to want a good source of it, and having an extractor triples the amount of rubber you get, depending on which rubber source you're using. Now I'm sure I have some rubber bricks left, but I don't see them. I should have found them before I started recording again. I apologise. There they are. Anyway, I had some. So what we need is some more of these circuits. You find yourself crafting a lot of these. I believe there was better ways of doing it in the last version of Ultimate, but in this version, I think, oops, pressed U, I should have pressed R. I think there's not so many ways again now. So it's just different types of rubber here, and you can make it one at a time. That's no good to us really. Assembly machine, that's, yep. So that's been changed. Previously there was alternate recipes that you could make more than 6 at a time of, I think. Unless I'm making that up, I hope I'm not. Got 9 of them. I'm going to make another one of these circuits that we're going to end up with a lot of. It might have been alternate for these. I'll double check that in a second. We need a couple of redstone. make ourselves an electronic circuit. Now spare me 1 second. No, that's something else. So yeah, the alternate recipe's gone from then as well. You could make more than one of them at a time, so that's gone as well. So I thought it has. And we're going to want a machine block. What I'm making here is called an extractor, and it uses tree taps. So we need some wood. Have I got any wood in here? I've got loads of wood in here. Excellent. So I need to make some wood into planks. I've got like 1 million planks at the other place. I could have just gone and got some of them, but then we're going to want 4 of these things called tree taps that you just make into a little tree tap shape. I suppose it's like a tap shape. So 4 of them, and then we combine them with our machine block and our circuit. That gets us, oops, is it that way? There we go. That gets us a thing called an extractor, and this is going to take low voltage, so we don't want it there. We want to attach it to our low voltage transformer. So the easiest place, because we're not automating anything yet, you can just stick that straight on top of there, and that'll power that. So you see there, little red thing, it's got power. And now what we can do is, when we get rubber, look at the recipes of this. We can turn saplings into rubber. You can turn rubber wood. There's at least 3 types of rubber wood. We can turn all that into rubber in here. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we've got. This is all, ignore all this cell stuff for now. It's basically what you can use is, if you get any stuff in cells that you don't really want the stuff, or you might want it later on, but you just haven't got enough cells for now, so you want to get rid of it. If you put your full cells in an extractor, it'll get rid of the contents and give the cell back. So you can use it for recycling cells. But there you go. There's the type of rubber wood that we've got. So I want to get some of that in a minute. And then slime balls contains rubber. Sticky resin contains 3 rubber, which is useful. You can make wool white again. Didn't even know that one. And I think that's all the rubber sources we've got. Yeah, so we've got quite a few sources of rubber. So one of the sources we've got is, looking here, from when I've cut some trees down to get this rubber that we turn into rubber bars, I've got like nearly 2 stacks of rubber wood there. So we can sling that in there, and quite slowly because it's not overclocked or anything. But these can be upgraded with things called overclockers and transformer upgrades, and what else is there? There's a storage upgrade as well. So an overclocker would make it go faster, but it'd make it use more power. So when you're starting off, you don't have to worry about that. But later on, once you've got fully automated machines, you may want to speed these up by overclocking them, or you may want them to run off higher voltage so you can transformer upgrade them. Basically, a transformer upgrade is like putting a transformer actually in the machine. So if I put one transformer upgrade in there, I could fasten it straight to this medium voltage MFE rather than having to run it through there. There's times where it's better, there's times when it's not. But we get to that point. So now we've got another source of rubber, so we're going to get nearly 2 stacks of rubber out of this. That's quite nice. And then the other thing that we're going to get at some point when we get the bees going, if we look at pollen, no, propolis, which we end up with a lot of propolis. There's quite a few types. It's the basic one I want to look at. Basic propolis, if you're just running normal bees, you get a lot of this. And if you look there, if you put it into a centrifuge, no, ignore that. Where is it? Where are you? I'm sure it's through a squeezer. No? Bear with me a sec, I apologise for this. Unless that's changed as well. Propolis. I'm looking at the wrong bloody thing. I want the use of it, not the... sorry about that. If we go to centrifuge, there we go. Put propolis in a centrifuge, which is a bee-related machine that we're going to be making. Then that turns out to sticky resin. So each propolis is worth 3 rubber. That's what I use my rubber source. It just comes to you free. So once you've got bees set up and automated, you've got a constant source for that. So you've got a constant source of rubber. You don't have to mess around with trees or anything. Very useful. I think on that note, we probably could look at getting some bee stuff sorted. Should I go with farms or should I go with bees? I don't want to get a cow thing sorted, cow farm, an automated one. I am just, yeah, I'm going to go with bees first, just slightly. I hope you don't mind, because I did say I was going to get on with the MFR stuff. What I'm going to need is, because both the bee stuff and the, see that's going down a bit. When I turn the motors off, you see the kind of speed it's going down. It's alright, it's all good. And that's staying around the same. It was, I think it was 10.6, so we're losing a little bit. But we've got plenty, Start using some of this power. And something that's going to use the power is the farms that I was talking about making. But something that uses the power also is making bee related stuff. So let's look at making the basic forestry machine, which you make most of your stuff in. It's called a carpenter. Now I just need to remind myself of the recipe for this, so I'll look at it really quick. Sturdy casing, bronze, glass, excellent. So we need some stuff called bronze. Now Greg Tech nerfs this a little bit. If you just got forestry, you can get for 3 copper and 1 tin, you get 4 bronze. With Greg Tech installed, or I think basic IC2 with no forestry, 3 copper, 1 tin gets you 2 bronze. So unfortunately we couldn't get 2 bronze out of this. There's a couple of ways of doing it. You can just do it in your inventory, like so. Probably the best way. So let's just do it like that. Yeah, screw it. You can make brass as well if you do it in a induction smelter. I think you can make bronze in induction smelter as well. There's different ways, but just straight up bronze, you can just do it in your inventory. So I suppose we should keep it the easiest way possible. And we're going to want, I'm going to want at least 8 of these for a thing called, oops, what the hell have I done? There we go. There's 7. There's some more copper. So this gets through your copper and your tin pretty quick. So you can see why copper is quite sought after at the start. So we're going to want 1 more, and then we want another 6. So for now we can get rid of the rest. Just put that back in there. And the reason why we need bronze to start with is, like the machine casing that we made for that out of iron, all the forestry machines use one made out of bronze. It's called a sturdy casing. It's the same pattern, it's pretty much the same thing. It's most mods have their own type of machine casing. This is the forestry one. It's called a sturdy casing. And then we wanted bronze up the sides, and we wanted a bit of glass top and bottom. Like so. I guess there's a thing called a carpenter. Excellent. And let's just place this down, have a look what recipes it's got for us. So, carpenter, can you click anywhere for recipes? No, okay, that's a shame. Most things you can click on an arrow somewhere and it'll show you the recipes. Doesn't seem to have one in here. No, okay, no worries. First thing I want to make for bees is a thing called Beelizer. It's a diamond, 2 redstone, some tin, some glass panes. Okay, let me get some glass panes. Have I got any of them? No, glass panes are just 6 bits of glass, which is 16, so we need 4 of them. Was it 2? It was 2, my bad. 4 tin. Put that over here. We need a diamond, so I'm going to have to use some more of our precious gold with the aluminium stone. I wouldn't normally do this. I do this because it's on camera and it's quicker. Generally I'd probably go and mine some diamond. Because gold's actually just as precious. I like using gold. It's going to need power. It's also going to need water. So we are going to have to make another aqueous accumulator as well. Or just use water buckets. We can just use water buckets. We're only making a couple of things, so yeah, I'll just use water buckets for now. I'll make an accumulator off camera later. Not the same as what we've got under there. So that was tin, glass, 2 redstone. That's what we're missing. 2 redstone, there we go. And now let's take this to our other place where we've got more power. And the beauty of redstone cells is I could just pull that off there and I could pop that out with the wrench and take it wherever I wanted. Of course we've got this little network set up here, just because I want this nice and quick. I could stick that on there. That'll power that as well. Wonderful. Actually, that's coming straight from the engines, isn't it? I'll take the engines back on. This is getting power straight from the engines then. And the thing with the carpenter is you make a pattern in there, but your material is actually going at the bottom. So I'm just left clicking making a pattern up there, so I can left click whatever I want. It doesn't actually use the materials, still 4 there, and right click and get rid of them. So you just build up your pattern that you want in there, and then you can use that to automate things. So you can keep sending things in, and if the things that you send in match the pattern, then it'll keep producing them as long as it's got all the right materials in. So I want glass, and then we need water, so we can use a bucket there. I think we maybe need 2 buckets for this. So different things require different liquids. 2 buckets, that's going to start working. Yeah, it does need 2 buckets of water for this. Well, there we go. We're going to need another machine called a squeezer. So I'm going to, well, that's doing that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to sleep because I've been in the twilight forest, so my spawn won't be set. Always got to remember that. And I'm going to make another machine, which is very similar. And it's going to take another 8 bloody bronze. So 4 of them I need. Let's quickly do this. Even that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. That was calculated badly. I actually need 8 of them, do I? Does that give me 1 each time? Gives you 1 bronze. 4 gives me 1. I thought that would be 2. Alloy smelter, 3 and 1 would get me 2. So I've actually, because I'm not using this machine, I'm actually losing out there. That's getting me 1 bronze at a time, so I'm losing 3 copper every time there. That's I think that's fair to say that's Greg's influence. Yeah, that's just burning stuff you've already made. Induction smelter, okay, I should have been using the induction smelter after all. So doing it in my inventory was wasting materials like an idiot. So if I'd have done that in there, I'd have had twice as much and saved myself some materials. I've been silly there doing that. I knew there must have been a reason why it was useful to use it in the induction smelter. I just couldn't think of it. Another sturdy casing. This time instead of bronze ingots, I want copper ingots down the sides. Put that back as if I've wasted all that copper. What a tool. Not as many mistakes as last episode, but still, I should have known better there. Centrifuge, that's not what I wanted. Is it what I wanted? That is what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Right. Centrifuge. What we can do with that is, if you remember, let's just turn that off. F7, turn off, thank you. I just had this little automated system going here, just to get me some honeycombs. It's done quite well. It's not got loads, but it's got me some honeycombs, which is good. Now we can go to our other base. And what this centrifuge does, it's for processing honeycombs. So we've got a little bit of head start here. We've got our baleizer, there we go, excellent. And just for now, I am going to leave that there actually. That's kind of almost full again. I don't know if it makes a difference having these turned off. I don't think it does. I think your boiler's going to burn. Still heating up. I thought it finished. Your boiler's going to burn the same amount of fuel whether it's creating stuff or not. I think that's it. This works. It pulls a constant. If anyone knows better, just correct me. I'm pretty sure that pulls a constant, so whether these are turned on or off doesn't actually make a difference. Unless, I think, you're pulling more than the boiler can produce, and then it'll gradually cause you issues, I think. So this could run 9 of them engines. If we had like 20 engines on here, it'd actually use all the steam out of there. If you're running at capacity, it'll sit at about half. And as long as it sits at half, I think the steam production remains constant. If you had like 20 engines, it would gradually go down and be no steam in there, and then you'd probably get issues with maybe overheating, I'm not sure, but you'd run out of power. Centrifuge, I'm going to stick on there. What we'll do with that is stick our honeycombs in there. Bad place to put it. I put it where the power's coming out. Let's move it along one. There we go. Should be fine there. Put that in there, and that'll start working. What that's going to do is it's going to process this honeycomb. It's going to give us honey drops beeswax, and what we need is the honey drops for our bee laser. If you look in the bee laser, there's a thing there for honey drops. What we need to do is supply a bee and provide honey or honeydew with a pacifier. So this won't work, that's like a fuel. So what we can do now is, we've got some of this. Now, one of the things we're going to make is a squeezer. Once we start getting more honeycomb in, you squeeze honey drops into liquid honey, and the liquid honey is the first place you start getting propolis from. You get a 10%, every time you squeeze a bit of honey, you get a 10% chance of getting some propolis. So I've got a bit of that in there now, so that's got fuel. We can go back to our bees. Now we can see what species these are to make sure there's no creepers sneaking up on me. So let's have a look at, first of all, let's have a look at these 10 that are all the same. So if you put one in at a time, it'd take one honey at a time. If you put 10 in, it's only took one honey, and now all these are analysed, so you can see what species they are and all stuff like that. So they're pure forest, that's all good. Remember when we first did this, we got some eggs, and that's why leporine. That's a special Easter bee. So these bees, this server must have started around Easter, because that's the only time they can spawn. So that's a leporine hybrid. That's a really rare bee. They don't have particularly good products, but if you want to collect them all, you need to do bee stuff around Easter to get that species. So we'll probably keep that to a side for now. So looks like what we've got in here. Our queen here. I'm using a bit more honey than I like, but our queen there's a pure forest, because we've gradually, by keep putting forest back in, we've gradually bred that leporine out of there. So these will all be pure as well, I would think. So they'll probably stack with them, but they won't stack because that's been analysed. So let's just confirm that. Yep, they're all pure forest. So we've got a good amount of pure forest bees. So what we want to do now is we want to breed them with not a forest bee. So the easiest bee is a meadows bee. If we're looking at it, we should have a meadows bee. Modest. Forest. We haven't got a meadows bee. Okay, I'm going to go look for meadows bee off camera, and because that's the simplest one to breed with. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I just checked the length for the episode, and we're well over 30 minutes, so I'm actually going to cut it there. Start the next episode. We'll quickly put a bee in there to start breeding our first new species called common, and then we'll definitely get on to sorting some MFR, animal and plant farms out. So as always, thank you very much for joining me. I hope it was useful for you. I hope it's entertaining, and I hope you join me next time. Cheers. Bye.